We dey look inside NaCOVERC then work after plenty concern we don dey comot from the public and the well-body workman them within NaCOVERC. Well, March 2020, Salone been registered in first case of the coronavirus, where this be make government that time they been put different measures in place for fet the sick, make e no scatter all over the country. Well, some part of measure where government been put in place that time they now for revive the National COVID-19 Emergency Response Center, where after where they don't revive them be employ well-body workman them for work na different departments them as way for help government efforts for ensure say they fet the corona sick come out na the country. Well, from that time day to now, the well-body workman they are done the work now in different departments there so na NaCOVERC. But this being time concern don't they come out from the well-body workman then say for over 8 months now, they not get their salary, and we've been see usai them do a protest na cutting tree. Usai according to them, they try to get President Bureau attention for tell them but the concern them wouldn't they get as well body workman them would they help by the effect against the COVID-19. Well, for can look inside and concern there so and also for talk about the work when NaCOVERC don't they do. Now the studio this morning, I want to welcome Ibrahim Lahai, in a COVID-19 frontline worker and a nurse. Good morning, Mr. Lahai, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, 98, and good morning, Sierra Leone.
And also we get Solomon Jamiru between the studio, in the spokesperson for the National COVID-19 Response Center, NaCOVERC. Good morning, Mr. Jamiru, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, me Fambul, and I take the opportunity for wish we all Happy New Year.
All right, continue for the return of the program. As I stated earlier, the well-body workman them this BNTM don't raise plenty concern because of them salary and self other concern them wouldn't get by the fight against the coronavirus where governments don't put plenty effort in place for ensure say then continue for fight the sick where they in the country. We go start with Ibrahim Lahai, where na one party workman them na NaCOVERC, and it will start for talk about how the fight against the corona sick don't turn like from the time where Salone begin register cases them.
Well, good morning once more. Me na Ibrahim Lahai, a nurse, and I come out from PMTC, CTC, when a community care center, and I there for represent aggrieved COVID-19 frontline workers. Sorry. From where the COVID-19 start in Sierra Leone, we now one part of the people and we don't volunteer and we don't pledge with love and loyalty to this we country and we volunteer for work for we country. Because initially we the COVID kind of Sierra Leone, everybody afraid. From all register with first case Alpha Jaw, everybody afraid, including the nurses, the doctors, and all man afraid. Everybody shift from the hospital. Some man go relax now, but some of we took up on we self, we say no, this we do for we country and we work for we country. So we don't dedicate we self, and indeed we don't work assiduously for we country. But the condition of service actually na the centers they hold the work, really nice for we. So now make this time we say we come out or can state some of we concerns them where we get. We don't the work with NaCOVERC, and we be signed a memorandum of understanding between the government, we represented by the Minister of Finance and the Ministry of Health, the Sierra Leone Medical and Dental Association, the Sierra Leone Nurses Association, the Pharmaceutical Association. We signed a memorandum of understanding where say every week we for they receive 1 million loans. Then plus that and for the give 60,000 we now we transport and we food every day, which of course they not ever give you that 60,000 day.
From when I start for work.
From where we start for work, March, they not ever give you that 60,000 day. When we ask the authorities are involved, they say the 60,000 they inside the 1 million we then they give you as weekly risk allowance. But the 1 million we then say that where we sign for, they need to give we every week. Then they wait till the month's done. Month upon month. They give you 1 month in every 3 months. After every 3 months, before they give you 1 month. From where we start for work, inside March, where we sign contract. Now so then they pay we. After every 3 months, before they give you 1 month money. Could you imagine from then where we the work, we get a lot of constraints and we because we sign contract. Then work there all over the work, not for say we grab number or go say who to go volunteer. Of course, we not volunteers them, but with the signed contract.
Mr. Laha, you say for March 2020, where NaCOVERC been signed MOU with una, also other stakeholders in the well body sector be involved. Una supposed forget 60,000 as transportation and feeding, and also 1 million units every week. But from that 10 day to now, una not they get this money according to waiting day inside the MOU. Whether issues there have been start, waiting at the different stages they wanna be used for channel. Some of them are concerned there. So other than the relevant authority where una be engaged.
Like exactly like we say so. When we start, like we own center, we not start March. We start May 16. Now we start. So like we work for 2 weeks. We go inside June. So like inside June, already the month done inside May, they not pay we. So we go first week inside June, second week, they not pay we. So we discharge with first patients. Solomon Jamiru way go now with center and then go discharge with 4 sets of patients them. When we go me particular way so and some of my colleagues them, me particular I ask them, they give you the assurance say then go pay we. In which of course they not pay we. At the end of the day, we even ask them for let man and get small thing no. We not giving nothing safe. It just assure we say then get for pay we. So after 2 weeks back, they not pay we. Then we go na NaCOVERC office na King Tom. We go ask the necessary office. We be accompanied by some of the doctors and soldier doctors and civilian doctors and then we the nurses and some of the hygienists and we coordinator then give we motoka. Then carry go na King Tom. We go ask the necessary authorities in King Tom. Of course, then tell we say, then let we go BDO. We go BDO, we go ask the we go first na UBA. We go ask na UBA if they not receive money. UBA say na NaCOVERC then get everything. Then we go BDO back. We go one man they named Christian. We na in there before we money. Then of course we go ask Christian. Christian say then go pay we in due time. They not pay we say the 16th of June. Then they pay we first money. We na 2 weeks risk allowance. Then they give you. So after that 2 weeks now, every month now, and the next payment now after 3 months before they give you one. After 3 months before they give you 1 month.
All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So this agreement we una get any time frame for her?
Yes. Of course, all we contract they sign at 3 months. All we contract subjected to review. After 3 months, we sign another contract back.
All right. So in particular, almost work mandate they work na that particular center they will do.
Well, basically, when we start, we get over 160. Mm-hmm. But with subsequent time, how the trend they go, then how the cases then they less, then they reduce the staffs them from NaCOVERC, then they send to the center coordinator for let reduce staff them because basically we get 60 bed capacity, then we get 20 winner for recovery. Now center to winner PMTC.
Because of them concern there, so they outline so una don't stage several protests them. Just forget the attention of the relevant authority that we concern. I remember the last time on a bide na cutting tree, Usai reporter way bide according to a report, he say the secretary to the president be able for address una and assure una say then go engage the Ministry of Finance for una get una money them. How much them protest there so una don't they stage, don't they help for solve this problem?
Well, basically, before we go to them protest there, when we come out from there, from last year, April, we didn't last pay money. Up to today, we are still January 14. They not pay we no money over 8 months now. Because then they do after 3 months, then give you small thing. They promise say, then go give you all the backlog. Because if they don't owe we for like 6 months, they promise we say, okay, well, then go give you 3 or 4 months. Log with the manager and later on, then go give you all that money back. But they need to give you. Say, we then pay we April. Could you imagine April money? We then last pay we. Who stand and pay we? September, this September we pass 2020. And then pay we for April. And then last pay we for April. So, because in August, NaCOVERC pull a press release when I get my phone here as evidence. Then pull a press August 25. Then pull a press release say because we fight the third wave, we all see the kind of way the third wave be dey. The number increase. We get over 6,000 COVID-19 patients then, according to Solomon Jamiru yesterday. So we get over 6,000 because I don't listen to several interviews them. And we center, we get 60 bed capacity, but we get over 71 patients in our center. So pass what we get for use the recovery back. Because when you go na the center, after we don't treat you for 1 week, you don't begin well, we send in a recovery. That after recovery, now it take 2 to 3 days. We results can, there you go. But we get for extend with bed capacity also the recovery. Right. So you don't see. So like after we don't do anything, we don't suffer during the third wave. We all know that May, June, then be the third wave. We don't suffer during the period and day. Then no money they not give we. Then we took up we then on August now we then send the press release say okay well we need for short down because the third wave we don't fight her now, we don't end that. So we need for short staff. Then they send to various coordinators and say, let them cut down the number. Like PMTC, so we get over 160. Then cut down to 60. Then they maintain. Me now one of the people that were affected during the August. But from August now, and the last part of the paragraph, we the press release with them pull and say, all backlog, all money we then owe we, then go pay in due time. In due time now in January, so we did. Then over 4 months then owe we inside August. Then now we don't add 4 months on top and back when at January we don't reach so. So some of our colleagues still work. Now NaCOVERC up to today they work. Then get patients in at the various centers in the PMTC and 34. So due to the thing there, we don't ask necessary authorities. Like we immediate boss, we now Dr. Sivali, na 34, the CEO for 34. Every day we ask at 34. Because some of we at 34 we work, we then send we on secondment na various centers then. We don't ask with CEO on various occasions. Right. They promise we say they pay. Like this December 8th, I can remember, a promise we say then go pay we before the 20th. That we go get with money before we go the holiday, Christmas holiday. But you know pay we. So now make we staged some of them protests there. And we will stage them protests there. Right. And January 4, we want to draw the attention of the president. Of course, we go to the presidential lodge, but the security and say for security reason, they send we na state house. Then lead we na state house, and we go na state house. The secretary to the president, then Sandy, of course, he talk with some of our members there, and he assure us, and he call from NaCOVERC and he call Ministry of Finance. They assure us say within 72 hours, when at 3 days, we money go be ready. When are from Tuesday the 4th to Friday. That Friday day we money not come out. So Monday we want come back. This Monday we pass we want come back, but we say no. Let we write letters. And we write letters to the president, address them to the president. Then we copy various houses, including civil societies, the donor partners. We copy them.
All right.
So
we get Solomon Jamiru in as the spokesman for the National COVID Response Center. They can respond to concern them with, one palm. The frontline worker they don't make the studios this morning. Now, Mr. Jamiru, you don't listen to within Ibrahim don't see concerning the challenge and the payment.
Yes, I'll respond now. Okay. So again, Fambul in the morning. I listen to Ibrahim, and for me, I would tell you, and I go assure you, say, this is not the first time we had to listen to a specific concern from PMTC. As spokesperson, myself don't be involved in several of them discussions and negotiations regarding COVID-19 risk allowances. You might wish to call it backlog, like in their own case where they talk about 8 months. I remember the last time I was part of a delegation who were actually going to special court and EOC because I've been also then the lab staff were also affected and we'll go get discussions. And I remember Chairman Bangura will make promises, say then go begin for pay. Some of them backlogged in tranches. For PMTC, really, I'm getting to know about this for the first time. However, we all in the response, we believe, say, a very important principle in employer-employee relationship, now for make sure, say, if terms and conditions of service have been agreed to and properly spelled out in a contract, we think, say, an acceptable practice is the contract must be honored. And so, I want to state this clearly and categorically say, as long as na contract, and like what Ibrahim said, the 4 layers of memoranda of understanding where government we don't do through Ministry of Health and Sanitation and Ministry of Finance, for people them we they don't talk say entitled to risk allowances. They want to therefore be honored. And I believe say as and when people know they raise concerns about outstanding payments, whether it has to do with people the way they do testing in labs or case management, as in the case of Ibrahim, or surveillance, I believe say some of them backlogged and they have been honored from time to time. For 8 months, and if it is really the case that these people have been owed for 8 months, me believe say as a response, that's an unacceptable practice. But these are things that I believe should be investigated, as I say. For them where they work in case management, them pillar lead na Colonel Dr. Sivali. And me ain't really not don't get any specific discussion because as I say for PMTC, this is not the first time we had to get for know this.
Mr. Jamiru, you say this is not the first time we the PMTC then concern. Usai Ibrahim come out and not only they represent frontline workers then na PMTC, they represent all aggrieved frontline worker them where I put them to you say not only in the first stage they then concern there so because even we na radio democracy don't they lays with una na NaCOVERC they bring them concern there so anytime where then they protest why up till now if the frontline workers them so important in the fight against the COVID why up till now NaCOVERC not try for see to then concern them.
So first, again, I go say, with respect to concern specifically from PMTC, this is not the first time we meet again. I mean, I just want to be very clear on that day. But however, I think say I don't acknowledge the fact
but
say
across just said the other time, INSEF meet with you and he expressing concern and you assure them say wanna go look into it.
Honestly, Khadija, I not go recall. Honestly, sitting here, I not go recall. But I remember say the time when they discharged the first set of patients them na PMTC, I was there because na me actually carried the press go do the coverage and all. And really that was the focus of the intervention. We will go there. I not go back and forth with Ibrahim. I'm sure it's an exchange we must have had, and I not go shy away from him. But specifically for recall, like I don't say no more. I don't talk about special court EOC. These are things I can really recollect. But as I say, as long as these are legitimate concerns, Khadija, as a response, will not for shy away from them. Because a contract is a contract and it has to be honored. And no say in a lot of effort really don't be put into addressing them concerns from time to time. And people them will don't be affected, whether it has to do with lab, case management, surveillance. In some of the other areas when they operate, some people they don't get them backlog from time to time. But I also believe say this based on how the funds are made available.
All right. Now, Mr. Jamu, you say some people they don't begin get them funds from time to time. Other than specific people in the.
I know, for example, when we go na EOC and special court, this I think say either early December, between October and November, I was part of a delegation we go there. Because we all agree, say, let's go there and hear firsthand from the people that were affected. And this is not about the time when people will be supposed to travel out of the country, go do the test, but staff them withhold their services. So now that be prompt the visit to EOC and special court. And where I say that particular time, Chairman Bangura be make some promises based on the funds were available at that time, then go start for make some payments just for cushioning the effect. And I believe say some of their intervention be made specifically for EOC and when Cockrell and also special court. Now, how wide that payment they be happen over that period, I can't tell at this point, but I will tell you specifically for that delegation which I was part of. I know that some payments were made. To what extent, I can't tell, but I just want to attest to some of the interventions will be happen at that point.
Mr. Jamiru, from where concerns them don't begin come out from the COVID-19 frontline workers, protest against protest, they don't go out there in the streets. So many people only wonder, say, a lot of funds, they go into the fight against the COVID-19 sickness alone. Funds from donor partner them, even UNACEF and NaCOVERC, they generate a lot of funds from travelers them where they come in and out of the country. With all their funds, then the way NaCOVERC they get. Why people the way they in front of the fight, where like now they exposed to risk, una not go try for give them, waiting due them, and waiting una be don't sign to say we go give una every week rather than una they wait take 3 months una pay them.
It's a fine question, Khadija. I don't really think say the intention now for deliberately withhold payments where people are entitled to.
So it's not be the intention.
I go say in terms of, I go agree with you, say the response they generate money. In terms of funds they generate from testing, for example, and fine for 2021, I think now around 105 billion. So clearly the response they generate money. But it's also a question of the authority for expend what you they generate. The way the system is, NaCOVERC also they get authority and disbursement from the central government, and based on their allocation and
specifically now the central government.
Ministry of Finance,
Ministry
Khadija,
of Finance.
yes.
So
yes.
the money them way NaCOVERC they generate from the response. Like use the test money them for an example. What in exactly NaCOVERC they do that?
Well, they go into different areas of operations.
Namely?
So NaCOVERC gets a multi-pillar operation. So for example, Ibrahim then pillar na case management. And case management, you not just they look at risk allowance. Risk allowance is just one subset of this entire operation. You also therefore they buy a lot of equipment and kits where then they use reagents for do testing, for example.
But donation they don't they come,
donation they come, but I will tell you the donation where they come is really not sufficient for handle all of this. And so I go agree, say indeed the response they generate money. But even when the response they generate money, the other question is the authority for expend that money. It has to clearly come from government. So as I say, then discussions and negotiations, they go back and forth. And I believe, say, some of their interventions they be made, to what extent really for satisfy all of them people that were aggrieved. And not think, say, a lot has been done in that direction. Because if Ibrahim go tell me, say, for 8 months, and this is just PMTC, I don't know how widespread this is for other people that will work in other responses. I think it's a legitimate issue to be looked into. But again, as I say, the response they generate money, like 105 billion from testing and from SEMS, but the money that they go into different operations. And as we talk again, Khadija, I just come up from the airport. NaCOVERC, they do a own dedicated testing center who they build up and the one for launch down there. So many things the way money they go into, really. And I think, say, NaCOVERC continue for be committed for the pay them backlog, then they ask and when funds are available.
We will look at the airport saga, but I still ask you a question about the aggrieved frontline workers. You na spokesperson for NaCOVERC. Now you don't the champion all the issues them we get for do with concerns where they come out from the public, frontline workers, and a lot where Mrs. F don't interview on, you don't they give information out. But this morning you seem not for understand, or you seem like now the first thing this you they about concern them we get for do with the aggrieved frontline worker them, and you now you day before we forgive information to the public we campaign the fight against COVID-19.
Again, Khadija, if we go back to what I say, I talk specifically about Ibrahim Dayon concern for PMTC. Generally about workers we aggrieved about backlog payments and this, I don't speak to and say I am aware. Say people them in different areas don't they raise concerns about backlog. So for example, I make mention of concerns will be come out from EOC, na Cockrell. I make mention of concerns will be come out from Special Court, and I also aware about concerns will be come out from the airport. But honestly, sitting here as spokesperson for the response, specifically for PMTC, this is not the first time we they get them. I mean, and I just want to be truthful about it. However, even though I talk say specifically for concern from PMTC, not only now I get them, but I don't talk say as a response. We acknowledge say these concerns have been coming from different institutions in the response, and I believe say as long as they are contractual issues, the response should be able to honor them as a matter of priority.
In all of the issues there, so we get to do with concerns of salaries, conditions of service, the public not only na the top places them, na the NaCOVERC structures, don't they grumble say una not get on a salary day. Is it that una comfortable, una they get on a salary day every month, but the frontline workers they know they get their own, or una self they get in challenge that will get for good salary?
Absolutely. This challenge they happen across the board.
Even USC you not get a salary for 8 months?
I go tell you, say, I have also been having challenges on allowances. Sitting here.
For 8 months.
Well, I'm not going to tell you if now 8 months or this, but I will tell you that everybody who works in the response have been having challenges one way or the other. But Khadija, as a leader, even if I am 100% comfortable, if anybody in the response is aggrieved because what illegitimately entitled to has not been forthcoming, I should be concerned as a leader. So I am very much as connected to this as Ibrahim or any other person who is caught up in this situation. And I think so we all, morally, ethically, and legally, we all supposed to stand in solidarity with them for make sure that these issues are addressed as they come up.
Now, Ibrahim, before we go for that break, you don't hear with him, Mr. Jamiru. You don't respond to some of una issue them. Now, apart from the allowances we una the raise concern about, with now like some of the other challenges we una don't face.
Well, before I talk about some of the challenges they face, I want clear the ear because Solomon Jamiru here don't specifically they direct to PMTC. Of course, Adeya as the PRO for all aggrieved COVID-19 frontline health workers
All over the country.
all over the country. And all they are on for specifically for PMTC. And they represent Adria 34, Connaught, PMTC, Benguma, Oladurin, and all over the country upline. So let me not specifically say it don't until the force they get concern from PMTC. No, and they represent everybody. Why Nami they are? Because we get people in back way they not go facing because then a uniform and then a soldiers and where they work with we. Them back feel aggrieved, but they not go can in front because they get the law we govern them. They're not for protest. They're not for joining in this. But we they speak like what's the answer? They talk on behalf of the doctors, and they talk on behalf of the nurses and non-medical staff who get the hygienists then, we are the cleaners then, you know. So it talk about the money, this, that, backlog they don't pay. Yes, of course, they pay all other sectors, including it's so dishonest to impart as a minister for let it tell we say incessant affected. No. We get insiders them from the head office when NaCOVERC. Then they pay themselves every month. One day they don't owe themselves 1 cent.
Ibrahim,
Yes, we get
this allegation.
We get insiders and we are health workers and we get people and we they na the head office in NaCOVERC. Where would they liaise with? Where they tell me all this. This December we pass with them pay themselves 3 months backlog. This December. Don't we? They careless we. We they fight the if NaCOVERC get accolade like today. Now we the health workers and we the doctors and the CHOs then, the pharmacists then waiting at the front line, where they talk one and one with the patients then. Now we they give them accolade. Because the kind of challenges that we will face now the centers then it really like where I talk just now, they say that they give you 60,000 for transport and food. Like me, so I come all the way Wilkins Road for go Pompon Hastings, PMTC and that every day. To and fro is 20,000 just transport. Food not there inside it. So we not getting now some of the concerns and then we don't dare we fight the third wave, which was very serious, and they all know we the day inside PPE for over 4 hours because we go in the morning, we take over 8 o'clock in the morning, we begin to do we guide right to medications then align with medications then for give the patients till then 9 from 9 o'clock now we enter inside the centers over 70 patients who they enter inside the centers then we they say 2 o'clock. We they sweat and dry inside PP. Say 2 o'clock. Then from there, we come on at those small, we take breeze, we drink water. Then we go inside back for go take vitals for handover later on to we colleagues them. The molestation in the one side because the patients we know say from where this COVID come, people them they free. But as the thing they go now, people them begin relax and begin to deny because they kill people and like Ebola thing. So the denial syndrome a buckle in the patient then like we na asymptomatic patient that we they deal with now with center. So
Right.
like you didn't see any presenting sign but then get the disease. So that patients and they deny. So they take a whole lot for let we able to talk to them patient and normally then calm down. So they take like 3 days. Me particularly when they talk to patients don't lock me. Patients over 20 patients then they don't lock me inside the center. They say you back we can give you COVID. When I say we get COVID, they lock me inside the center. Able man then wey big pass me. Some dem na even soldier dem. Dem lock me. Pass why I able talk to them. I use my skills before I able escape comot inside the center. You don see? Patient dem throw away food na we face. When dem don send food, na we dey go distribute food dem to. If that food dey not sweet, dem dey throw away am per way. Dem dey call women like say dem wan can talk to you. Dem dey splash the food on we. So you don see? Dem dey curse we mama dem. You don see? Like me so, particularly some of my colleague dem. Like me in particular, my sister gave me na house. Because of I go sacrifice my life for my country. My sister gave me na house. You don't see? At least thing where Sir Juicy be dey talk now, the financial sector, now this medium, now they be sit down where they talk, where they ask her concerning with money. It talk say, if they not be they give disburse money every month to NaCOVERC, like NaCOVERC don't close. So who side them money then they go?
All right, Solomon Jamiru can answer that question there.
Now, Mr. Jamiru, you don't listen to what Ibrahim say. One thing we mentioned that insider at the office tell them say una may pay una self a 3-month backlog, whilst them not get pay for over 8 months. How true about that?
Okay, thank you. So first, we were as spokesperson, I am part of the leadership of NaCOVERC. And I think the first thing where I established now that a contract is a contract and it has to be honored. But I also believe, and I will talk to Ibrahim, coming here and representing, as you say, aggrieved workers, we also have to be respectful to one another and to each other. Because sitting here, me always believe we say things and we have to be very transparent. In the exchange with me and Khadija asked if we are also affected. And I talk and clearly say, perhaps not to the extent as others might be affected, but we all don't suffer from backlog issues. And when Ibrahim say, I mean, the fact that he talks say at some point they pay with 3-month backlog, let's accept that is the case. If that is the case, then that just confirms that not more they suffer from backlog payments. We also do. But I'm not really the one for going to, back and forth, but that just confirms that we also have our own challenges. But what I think is important for the discourse now that we all exposed to risk, and as I say, as a response and as leaders, we say people are legitimately entitled to risk allowances, and I think that as long as those concerns are investigated and they are legitimate, they must be honored. And I think nobody is really shying away from it. In Ibrahim's own case, and again, we need to get a sense of how widespread this is. I think in Ibrahim's own situation, if it's PMTC, for example, case management and NaCOVERC and BDO get for look into the specific situation. Because I know most times, a lot of things them can be factored in then things there. So for example, then go look at okay, if they get certain patients in a certain care home or a treatment center, for example, they can also for consider when did they discharge the last patient and how long until that treatment center we don't go or that care center we don't go without a patient, so 3 months, 4 months. Also on the basis of how they attend to patients, that's how people are paid. So now I say, because there are specific issues where things happening in a particular system may not exactly be the same in another system. So now I say, most of them when somebody come and talk, say, I am owed 8 months. So until when they don't do all the calculation, it's really not 8 months as they are alleging.
Mr. Jamiru.
So as I say, in principle, as a leader and as a response, in principle, I just want to establish, Khadija, as long as these are contractual issues and they are investigated and legitimately established, they must be honored. And I think, as a response, we should not shy away from it. I think, I don't establish that.
All right. NaCOVERC, they get financial challenges to the extent that on our own, the frontline workers, them over 8 months, they don't get their allowances. Women say the institution, they get financial challenges, and according to you, even yourself, the leadership, it affects una. With all the financial challenges there, so usai NaCOVERC been pull money for rent a big office na sport, usai World Bank be dey where that particular building they I made for understand it cost about $200,000.
Okay, no one for really going to finances because I have to have my facts right.
But they talk about financial challenges where
Yeah.
as an institution they go through.
Yeah.
With all them challenges there, so the public they sooner they make strides
Yeah.
for rent big offices them
Yeah.
way very expensive, and the workers they were they in charge for fet the sick, they get concerns.
So as I say again, Khadija, I think say in this discussion, if you really get for ask whether it really important for rent that kind of office space and sometimes for the kind of money that may have been expended, I think say if you look at the office space, look at the facilities where it gets and how then they go also help the respond for able for manage the pandemic, I think say it's really justifiable. However, you can't take that as a priority, and you similarly conclude that paying people their risk allowances is not a priority. Me think say if you put all two on a scale, I think say you should attach equal importance to both. Having a congenial working environment for an outfit like COVID-19 response, where all over the world, it's something that you have to prioritize, really. And given the fact, say, it's a multi-pillar, multi-expert agency, you they draw experts, not just from the private but public sphere, and even internationals coming in where they lend support to the response, I think, say, really, you need a convenient space for able to operate from. However, we still believe, say, people who are owed their backlogs, that should be addressed because that is equally important.
You as Solomon Jamiru, you still they receive your allowance?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now, Mr. Jamu, you mentioned say on a need forget a
But but we are also owed backlog. I go establish that.
But I understand say you and the coordinator on a salary they not they delay neither on allowances.
Well, like, you see where Ibrahim talks say at some point they pay 3-month backlog. So that they say if that was the case, that also they established say we can really get in challenges there.
Now, Mr. Jamiru, as you say, on a need space, also on the work. Better space so that they will go carry on proper one. But again, if you look, people within at the ground where they work, you not think say them more important than the office space where you mention say on a need, forget so that on a will go carry on proper one. And I not think so on don't address them people that had the issue instead of the office space on a take.
I think it go difficult for La talk say having an office space not really important. And again, we get to look at the transition because we also need for hastily move from King Tom because SLFA also need their space for operate. But honestly, I believe say if I am in a position like Ibrahim or any other person affected, hearing the facts where it don't lay out, I think say if me be in that kind of position as well, something I don't be more furious than how in day. So honestly, I think we all, if we put ourselves in that kind of position, that make us establish from the get-go, say, a contract is a contract and it really for be honored.
You know, been think say that decision we wanna make as leadership and NaCOVERC for rent such kind of building where maybe una might not even use all the rooms them. Una for we don't go for a less expensive one and the other funds una try for sort issues them like Ibrahim the issue there.
Well, I don't know a lot of the discussions will be factored for get this building. And I not think say it's just about NaCOVERC. Because as we talk now, Khadija, NaCOVERC also the plan now what we call an integration into core Ministry of Health activities, but also transition now they take place. What in NaCOVERC the transition into, I think it's also possible say this outfit we don't secure. A lot of other agencies were connected to NaCOVERC will also benefit from this. So as I say, I think it's a picture that is bigger than just the NaCOVERC operations.
During the last protest of them aggrieved worker there, them make a statement say if they not get the salaries, then backlog, then go down tools, then go stop for work. And as soon as they make these statements, people begin to see challenges from the fight. One part then challenge then the Nafole people get access to the COVID test results for travel.
Yeah.
Yesterday, everybody yeri or see body chaos where be they na the Lungi International Airport to side passenger then miss them flights them because of the COVID test results, they not be able to forget. But you come out and make a statement, say, na technology failure, na the system being failure. Is it that na the system or na because of the aggrieved worker them will lay down tools?
For the event specifically in our airport, we make about 58 or about 60 passengers were affected. The information we'll get, and based on with discussions, really now the travel portal with www.travel.gov.sl, now be go down for a while. And as you know, Khadija, from the time we will resume commercial flight, when they lift the ban on commercial flight, we launch with travel portal. We don't ask all inbound and outbound passengers for make sure they then register on the travel portal, and also we create an opportunity for them for able for access their certificates online. So between day before yesterday night and yesterday morning, the system was really down, and that was a very unfortunate development, because this is not a travel portal we don't use for serve inbound and outbound passengers. Over 70,000 of them will not be really don't get an issue. I think yesterday night, 2 days ago, and yesterday morning was the first time we'll really get an issue of that kind of magnitude. However, the ICT consortium be not able to restore the site back, and from the time we will go to airport, the system was up and running, and passengers then be not access then result. It was, however, Khadija, a very, very painful experience, because by the time we go, firsthand for talk to the passengers who were affected, including our colleague Asma James, talking from one passenger to the other. Somebody be also due for medical procedure. Some people were bound to be in Lagos for a wedding. Different people, if you take one case to the other, all of the cases they were really sharing with us, because the idea was to see if we can divide them into two categories. Tier 1, which until we don't consider to be the most critical group, and sometimes tier 2, people that we think say because they don't miss their flight, they could come back and make another travel arrangement. But as you talk to one passenger after the other, it's like every case was really critical. It'd be very unfortunate what happened. However, we talk to them and we talk to the general public, say technology failures happen all over the world.
Right.
And
so silent people are there presently, Mr. Jamiru?
Well, so yesterday we able for make sure say we get them at I think International Gateway or Gateway Hotel. Now they will go meet with them, and we talk to the management for also make sure say the one that we want for continue for day in hotel until they rebook and fly out, go continue for the day. So feeding arrangement was made yesterday. We did away about 5 people. We were able to get them into Brussels Airlines. We're supposed to go to America. We talked to KQ. We be indicate to we say they might be able to bring in through the Star Alliance about 20 spaces for we. A-Sky, the next available flight for be tomorrow, but fully booked. So we are looking at Monday at the earliest. But
Right.
some of them things that they will not be able to finalize on it. But as and when will they finalize, now so then they accommodate them passengers for travel.
All right, so then people here, we presently, we on a lodge in a Lungi in a different guest house. What are the foots the bill of them people here?
Well, for the accommodation, that will be done by government, absolutely.
All right, with all the challenges there, so somebody they wonder say why the authority them no go try for integrate NaCOVERC into the existing health structures.
That's a fine one, Khadija. So then discussions and they day on. So because of what happened yesterday, we don't discuss now with civil aviation, and we will talk through them. We will talk to the airlines for see what will be the alternative recourse in an event where there is a system failure in the future, because we need to get alternative protocol. What will be the protocol we go kick in, will be acceptable to both NaCOVERC and also the airline, and also a system where you don't want a situation where you go select people then travel, then something as them go and then transit or final destination, then get problems with their own COVID-19 regulations. So we are learning lessons from all of this, and we hope and pray say we will get a system where this not will happen again.
It's Mr. Laha, you don't listen to Mr. Jamiru. NaCOVERC they get financial challenges, now that make una not able to get on a salary they the backlog salary the way they own now. But according to them, they still they work on that. Going forward, after this discussion today, and you don't get first-hand information from the spokesperson from NaCOVERC, what think will be on our next line of action?
Well, one thing we want to let the minister know is contract and contract. No matter if you get patients or you not get patients. Like I said earlier on, all the centers and get patients then. You know, then he talk about investigation. Not to the first thing this when we don't listen on a radio station, I don't watch on a television station where they talk about then they investigate with money. Not until they don't begin to talk about this. So now we want a timeline, and we not let this delay again because we don't patience for over 8 months now. So we need with money. So when I make the last time we take up on we say for go with targets and for go see the presidents. Like Khadija asked me, who's good dividend now this don't yield. We target now for see the president, but unfortunately we will not be see the president. We meet with the secretary to the president. We be assure we, but the time we begin it don't elapse. So now we want to let the minister tell we who's telling they pay because they get money for pay all other sectors, including them when they heads them. Like they say, you not deny say they not pay themselves that 3-month backlog. You know, denying. So we want to know who's telling they pay with because IJ when are the nutritionist where it's our saying they cook for the patients then pay her. The lab them where them protest this BNTM because now they give them the figure where they want, then pay them.
Alright, so if they're not going on a timeline, what's
so because we don't write letter to the president, I get a copy now. We will copy UNA and other civil society and donor partners. And so we don't copy the IG and we copy Ministry of Defense. So if we not get with money by the end of today, definitely next week we'll go for come on back na street. And we come out because we over 1,000.
Okay.
We'll go for come out in a massive number. So one without the listing we want talk to the one appeal to the president, the first lady and the civil societies and the donor partners let them come to aid, let them ensure say yes, let them pay this money here on time. Now that's all we ask for.
Alright, Ibrahim. I'm bring you in Solomon Jamiru. Ibrahim they ask now for a timeline for get the money. According to they don't write to the relevant authority them and after today they not able to get a timeline. By Monday then go come out na street again for protest.
Honestly, if you deal within my competence for get timeline, I for don't get them. But as you self know, Khadija, myself I get my own specific mandate as spokesperson for the response. Ibrahim is a colleague, and I believe he's just one of the finest we get. And honestly, Khadija, now then the interface with the positive cases, and I know how the gravity of that kind of risk is. So anytime, any day, I think if we go for prioritize anything, people like this, cases like this should be prioritized. Right. So myself, they make this a personal crusade. Like what he say, remind me, say they tell go discharge patients. We had a conversation. I'm sure we'll take it from there. Not just specifically from PMTC, but also across the response. And I go assure you, the outgoing chairman, Khadija, even this last presidential task force will meet. When they bring out the financials, it also bring the issue about backlog. I think it sum up to about 38 or so billion. And ask government kindly for prioritized Dande. So I believe that Honorable Sheku Bangura has also been equally committed, making a very passionate case for all of them people and the way owe them backlog. And I will make sure that I stand personally in solidarity with them for make sure that this issue is addressed.
All right, quickly, another issue again. The UK, the ban they don't lift for passengers them we fully vaccinated. Where they go na the UK, we don't need a pre-arrival test. For example, one day they come off free toya. As you fully vaccinated, you don't need a pre-arrival test result. But NaCOVERC still they charge them people there so.
Because well, last say things a bit fluid. Khadija, now things and this is what they discuss. We respect the decision of UK for dispense with negative COVID-19 certificates as long as you are fully vaccinated. But we equally believe, say, we owe them to we people and also travelers that are traveling for make sure, say, once you come off salon for go out, you are also not a positive case. Because for move from here, for go through sea coach, get to the airport, if you are a positive case, you are exposing other people to risk. So for we continue for prioritize testing, because we believe it's an important thing for me to be able to address the pandemic locally.
All right, now Mr. Jamiru, as we not get better in term again, what's the problem there we make on the slow for people when a frontline workman them? Somebody just they ask now with Facebook page. So what's the problem there?
I wish you not be bringing me to this again. La put on this way. NaCOVERC, they engage government very strongly. As I say, even in the last presidential task force, Honorable Sheku Bangura made a very passionate appeal for address backlog. As I say, I think it come a total about 38 or so billion. I think all of these things really are from my own sense. One, now funding availability. But as I say, Ibrahim no Allah talk, but I'm really about investigation. But la put on this way, we get a fiduciary agency when a BDO, now then they advise NaCOVERC on all financial matters. One thing I go just want for say on air, now that there is a very strong commitment on the part of NaCOVERC for honor every legitimate backlog. And some of us will make sure, as I said, we are part of this crusade for make sure that this is addressed, as long as funds are available.
Quickly, now funding availability. Now to say Ministry of Finance don't reduce the allocation to NaCOVERC. If yes, what's not the using them?
I not go specifically say if they don't reduce, but I know that there are funding challenges. And
for
as
Ministry
they
of
say,
Finance.
all over, what I go say now that a lot of things they beg for attention now. It is not just COVID-19. I believe the government also get other priorities for attend to. So because a lot of them things and they clash and there is competition, but I believe the government always committed really for provide funds for the response.
Thank you very much, Solomon Jamiru, spokesperson for NaCOVERC, who you come to the studio this morning. There's plenty concern them where the public gets about the COVID-19 threat, and also address some of the concern them with the aggrieved COVID-19 frontline workers then get. Now they end the program. Good morning, Salon for today edition. Michael Sambola and Alex Lawrence Kuma then produced the program. DJ Lavagi with technical support, and to the entire Good Morning Salon team we make the program reach on. Amina Khadija Bangura, the wishing all a lovely weekend.